When the player first loads the game, they are greeted with a home screen. An animation plays of a main playable character which shows the character's emotions and then transforms into sketches to keep the player entertained. When the game first runs, the user can hear a voiceover with a robot effect saying "Start Game". From the main menu, the user has two choices: play game or exit. The main story of the game is the main character has crashed its ship into the side of a mountain, causing scrap metal, nuts and bolts, to be scattered around the area of each level. The goal of the player is to run around the map and collect the scrap before time runs out. The genre of the game is a 3D platformer and follows a colourful or cartoon-like art style. This is following the conventions of other 3D platformers such as Mario 64 and Banjo-Kazooie. Both featured bright, colourful open environments where the player had to navigate and pick up collectibles. To come up with the level design, sketches and drawings were made after viewing reference materials and games already in the genre to draw inspiration. Once I had a good idea of how I wanted the game to look, I was then able to use 3D modelling software called Blender to produce models such as trees and static props to fill up my world. Once I had modelled objects for my environment, I imported them into Unity, which is a cross-platform game engine as an FBX file format, and clicked and dragged an item to spawn inside the level. I kept doing this until my level was complete. The soundtrack for the start menu and levels are chosen because, after researching music in 3D platformers, the soundtrack often emulated what was contained within the scene and level. For the home screen, the robot has just crash landed into Earth, and so there is a sense of danger and confusion as the music ramps up. In the level, the world is open, colourful and bright, causing the music to be more upbeat and cheerful to emulate a sunny day. The soundtrack is royalty free, as the owner has declared that the music can be used for any project, whether it is commercial or non-commercial. The music has also been altered slightly to slow down and speed up the tempos. Upon starting the game, the player gets a sense of perspective when they are introduced to the open level. The player can walk forwards, turn right, left and backwards using WASD or arrow keys on the keyboard, as well as having the ability to jump by pressing the spacebar. The player can also perform this movement while sprinting by holding the shift key. The camera can be rotated and controlled by moving the mouse, and the player can fire lasers by left clicking. The character was modelled in Blender and then uploaded to Mixamo, where a rig was generated for the character. Using this, I imported the rigged character into Unity and used the character controller to give the character movement using C# scripting, and animations using an animator component. The animation such as walk is assigned to a key, and therefore which animation plays is controlled by the animator. General static props and assets such as trees, rocks, plants and signs create meaning by making the world more atmospheric. Without them, the world will be empty, which is not believable in the context of the game. They are relatable to the genre because they match the environment they belong to, as well as follow the colourful and cartoony art style. There's also raised platforms such as the bridge, which allows players to jump over gaps to avoid going into the water. Environments such as hills can be climbed on, which links to the platforming genre. I made the models in Blender after looking up references and then imported them into Unity. The level includes invisible walls, which prohibits the player from escaping from the bounds of the map. Featured in a secret area, the player finds a cave in which they can use their lasers to fire at boxes, causing them to be moved. Since the laser collides with the box, this will be a physics prop, and the player can shoot them as much as they like. At the end of the room there are treasure chests to signify this was a secret area, and the player gets teleported to the top of the mountain. The game itself is developed using the Unity engine, which is a multi-platform game development software in which a wide range of users can use. There are paid versions for professionals, however anyone can use the free version to develop their games. The scripting for the game includes a mixture of C# and JavaScript. The JavaScript is used to display and perform a timer in the top left corner, as well as teleport the player. All other functions are coded with C#. Unity has MonoDevert built in, which is the integrated development environment supplied with Unity, where users can code in a variety of languages. The voiceover from the start was recorded with a Blue Yeti microphone and was recorded into the software Audacity, which is a free open source cross-platform audio software for multi-track recording and editing. I recorded my voice and then edited it to sound like a robot, which made it seem like the main character was talking directly to the player. All elements of the game have been created with a high technical standard in mind. following the conventions of my chosen genre, which is 3D platforming, but also following the art style, hence the game is low poly, giving it a more cartoony and nostalgic feeling as if playing on Nintendo 64. The elements also had to fit in with the planned aspects of the game, such as following the drawings and sketches I made for level design. The character can move freely inside a 3D environment and so suitable for a 3D platform inspired game. The character's expression and motion is displayed through body language and animations, where the character is given human-like qualities and so is personified. The character uses body language to express emotions, meaning kids could recognise and emphasise with the character, as the target audience for my game is for kids aged 6 to 16. However, anyone can play it as the content is suitable for everyone. The conventions of a platforming genre involve guiding a movable character to jump between suspended platforms or over obstacles to traverse their environment. However, with the platform adventure genre, the player now has the ability to explore an area freely with access to new areas granted by gaining new abilities or using inventory items. The most common features of this genre include jumping and other acrobatic movement, such as climbing and swinging, as well as bouncing from springboards. Therefore, my game follows the conventions of the genre by allowing the player to traverse a wide open environment. The player can move free, the player can jump or climb up objects, and as well as landscape, as well as bouncing off springboards which are disguised as mushrooms. Upon the player running out of time, which is not collecting 50 pieces of scrap metal in the time limit, the player will be sent to the game over screen. An animation plays of the character looking sad, and the player gets two choices, whether to play again or exit the game. The character's activities include exploring an open area, finding scrap, and interacting with the environment. This is appropriate for gameplay as the control scheme is easy to understand, as well as giving the player freedom to progress how they wish, such as multiple ways of getting to the top of a mountain in first level. The character's expressions and emotions are shown in the form of animations and cutscenes, meaning when playing the game, the focus is on gameplay and level design. The player doesn't get distracted and follows the story when the level is complete. The game is graphically appealing to my target audience as it features a bright cartoon environment and easy to understand gameplay mechanics. The game encourages the player to explore by having a secret area, and the player will gain more abilities as the game progresses. Target audience feedback was also taken into consideration when developing the game, which helped create a game which appeals to the target's audience. The player goes around picking up collectibles which the character stores. This counts as dynamic prop as the player interacts directly with it. As once all scrap metal is collected, the level is complete and the player is given a win screen with the option to play again or exit the game.